The wind screamed like a dying creature across the abandoned mining town. Snow slammed into the half-collapsed wooden buildings, ripping shingles from rooftops and hurling them across the frozen street. It was the kind of storm that smothered tracks, swallowed voices, and buried the weak without mercy. And on that merciless night in 1874, a girl huddled behind the rotting wall of an old saloon, her body shaking with cold and fear. Alara had stopped feeling her fingers hours ago. Her breath came out in thin, trembling clouds. She pressed her knees to her chest, clutching the torn blanket she had scavenged from a deserted wagon. Her stomach roared in hollow agony. But hunger wasn't new. The West had beaten that in her long ago. At 14, she had crossed these territories in a wagon convoy with her parents. They had been hopeful, looking for land, looking for work. But the fever had swept through their camps swiftly, cruelly. One day her mother coughed. The next day, she couldn't stand. A week later, both parents were wrapped in sheets and buried without markers. Alara had stood there trembling while strangers threw dirt onto the only people who ever loved her. After that, she traveled under the authority of a caravan master who treated her worse than a stray dog. She cooked, cleaned, hauled water, never paid, never thanked. And when bandits attacked the camp one night, the master fled, leaving the young girl behind as bait. She barely escaped the chaos. For weeks, she wandered the frontier, unwanted everywhere. In towns, the men stared, the women avoided her, the soldiers drove her away. No work for strays, one rancher had said, slamming his door. And tonight, in the ruins of red clay mining camp, she was dying. Snow crushed the roofs around her. Wind scraped her skin raw. Her ribs ached with every breath. Then she heard it, a deep, heavy crunching in the snow. Footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. She tried to make herself smaller, invisible, a shadow in a storm. But the footsteps came closer. A figure emerged through the white blur. Massive shoulders, a thick fur coat, a beard stiff with frost. A hunter's rifle hung at his side. Everything about him projected danger. Calder Holt, the mountain man. Whispered stories about him circulated in saloons and trading posts. He lived alone in the Bitterroot Mountains. He fought like a grizzly. He shot without blinking. He killed a man with his bare hands in a bar fight. And he trusted no one. The kind of man mothers warned their children about. Calder stopped 2 paces from her. Steam curled from his beard as he exhaled. Alara crawled back until her spine hit the ruined wall. His eyes narrowed, but not with cruelty. More like concern he didn't know how to express. "You alive?" His voice rumbled like shifting earth. Alara didn't answer. He studied her face, scanning her wounds, her shivers, her blue lips. Then he said the words that froze her heart. "Can I buy you?" Alara's breath stuck in her throat. The phrase wasn't new. Men in bad towns had asked her that before. Men with whiskey on their breath. Men who saw desperation as an invitation. Her voice cracked. I'm not for sale. Not ever again." A flicker of confusion crossed Calder's face. Then he realized how it sounded, and cursed under his breath. "No," he growled. "Not like that." He gestured to the storm behind him. "I meant, can I buy you a chance to live? Food, heat, shelter, nothing more." Alara stared at him, trembling, unsure if she should believe him. "Why?" Her voice was barely a whisper. Calder shifted awkwardly, as if unused to explaining himself. "'Cause if you stay out here, you'll be dead before the moon drops. And he hesitated. "I ain't letting another soul die on my watch." Alara's heart thudded. His tone was blunt, rough-edged, but not cruel. She swallowed hard. "How much would it cost me?" "Nothing," he said. "I ain't buying you. I'm buying your time. Enough for you to get warm and fed. After that, you choose if you stay or go." The wind slammed the saloon wall again. Alara looked at the storm, then back at the mountain man. "Okay," she whispered. "But I owe you nothing." Calder gave a single nod. Agreed. He picked her up as if she weighed nothing at all, and carried her into the storm. The storm clawed at them as Calder trudged through waist-deep snow. Each step was deliberate, his boots sinking with heavy crunches. Alara clung weakly to his coat, her face buried against the fur-lined hide that shielded her from the wind. Calder didn't speak. He simply moved forward, breath steaming, eyes alert. The man was a mountain, solid, immovable, relentless. Alara tried to walk twice, but collapsed each time. Calder lifted her again without complaint. After nearly an hour, the wind eased. Ahead of them rose a ridge of dark pines. The forest swallowed the storm, muffling the roar into a distant moan. At the edge of the woods, a narrow trail wound upward toward a hidden shack built into a rocky slope. Calder's voice was low. "Cabin's close. You'll make it." The final climb was steep, slick with ice. Calder carried her the last stretch, pushing open a heavy wooden door reinforced with iron. Warmth hit her like a wave. The cabin was small but sturdy, lit by a crackling fire. Skins lined the walls. Tools hung neatly from pegs. A pot simmered over the flames. He set her on a stool beside the hearth. "Warm your hands slow," he instructed. "Burns worse if you rush it." She nodded, holding her trembling fingers over the fire. Pain shot through them. Sharp, fiery, almost unbearable. But it was good pain, living pain. Calder ladled stew into a wooden bowl and handed it to her. Alara devoured it in frantic spoonfuls. Calder didn't speak until she slowed. "Good. Means you're getting strength back." Minutes later, a distant howl echoed through the trees. Alara froze. Calder stood instantly, rifle in hand. "Wolves," he said. "Pack's been following me. Hungry this season." The howls grew louder, multiple voices weaving together. A scraping sound hit the door. Then another. Something circled the cabin. Calder peered through the shutter. 3 of them. Maybe 4. His rifle clicked. Jammed. He cursed. The wolves lunged at the windows. The shutters rattled violently. Alara grabbed a piece of burning wood from the fire. "What are you?" She didn't wait for instructions. She thrust the glowing ember through a crack in the shutter. The wolves snarled, backing away from the smoke. Calder blinked. "You got guts," he muttered. The wolves retreated. Only then did Alara's hands begin to shake. Calder fixed the rifle and kept watch for hours, but the wolves didn't return. When the danger passed, he finally relaxed. "You're safe here," he said quietly. But Alara wasn't sure safety existed for people like her. Later that night, Calder stepped outside to check the traps. As he moved through the pines, the wind shifted, and he felt eyes on him. From a rocky ridge above, a figure watched. Tall, silent, painted with the ash and ochre markings of a warrior. Tarek, a lone survivalist of the wandering tribes, known for arrows that never missed. Rumored to speak little, but observe everything. Tarek's face was unreadable as he studied the mountain man carrying an injured girl. Calder and Tarek were not enemies, but they were certainly not friends. Their paths had crossed only twice, each time shadowed by caution. Tonight, Tarek said nothing. He simply turned and disappeared into the trees. Inside the cabin, Alara watched Calder return, his coat dusted with snow. "You went out without a coat," he said, noticing how she shivered. She quickly wrapped herself tighter in the blanket. Calder sat across from her, sharpening a hunting knife with slow, rhythmic strokes. The silence wasn't uncomfortable, just quiet. Real. She cleared her throat. "Why did you help me?" Calder paused. "Because I've buried too many people," he said. "Didn't want you added to that number." His honesty startled her. She looked into the fire, whispering, "I thought you wanted to own me." A beat. Calder's jaw tightened. Not in anger, but regret. "No one owns you," he said firmly. "Not while I'm breathing." For the first time in months, Alara felt a spark of something she had almost forgotten. Hope. 2 days passed. The storm faded, leaving behind a world of white silence. Alara helped Calder clean the cabin, patch his coat, and grind herbs for medicine. She moved slowly, still weak but determined. Calder didn't hover or order her around. He simply let her be. But danger found them anyway. It started with tracks in the snow, hoof prints and boot marks. Calder spotted them first. "Riders," he said. 4, maybe 5. Alara's blood ran cold. "Did they see the cabin?" she whispered. Calder scanned the tree line. "Don't think so, but they're headed this way." Meanwhile, miles below the ridge, a group of bandits pushed through the snow, led by the caravan master who once abandoned Alara. He had survived the ambush and rebuilt his crew through fear and cruelty. And he wanted his property back. "She's mine," he snarled. Girl ran off with supplies. "We take her back. Sell her if we have to." His men nodded, though uneasily. Bandits heard rumors about Calder Holt. No one raided his land. No one survived when they tried. But greed smothered fear. Back at the cabin, Alara trembled as memories resurfaced. The yelling, the kicks, the iron grip on her arm. Calder noticed her shaking. "You know them," he said. She nodded. They used me. Not how you think. They made me work, starved me, beat me. Said I owed them for my parents' wagon space." Calder clenched his jaw so tightly the muscles twitched. "Why didn't you say this earlier? I didn't know if you'd believe me." Calder crouched, so he met her eyes. "I ain't that kind of man." Something broke inside Alara, a wall she didn't know she built. Then she asked the question that had lingered since the storm. "Why did you say, 'Can I buy you?'" Calder swallowed hard. "Because once," he said slowly, voice heavy with grief, "I tried to buy my brother's freedom." Alara froze. Calder continued, eyes distant. "Bandits took him when he was 16. Sold him. Passed him between groups like a damn saddlebag. By the time I tracked him down, he was dead." The fire crackled softly. "I swore," Calder said, "I'd never let someone fall the way he did. So when I saw you dying in the cold, the only words that came to me were the ones I used to beg for my brother's life." Alara's throat tightened. Before she could respond, a gunshot exploded outside. Calder grabbed her and pushed her behind a table. The bandits had arrived. Splinters flew as bullets tore through the cabin walls. "Stay low," Calder ordered, already loading his rifle. The bandits surrounded the cabin. Flames flickered outside as they lit torches. "Bring out the girl," the caravan master shouted. "Give her up, mountain man, and we'll let you live." Calder snorted. "Liar." One bandit kicked the door. Calder fired, dropping him instantly. Chaos erupted. Gunshots ripped through the night. The cabin shook with impacts. Smoke filled the air. Alara crawled across the floor, grabbing a knife to cut Calder's spare ammo pouch open so he could reload faster. "You don't stop," Calder barked as he fired again. "No matter what." She didn't, but the bandits were relentless. One tossed a torch onto the roof. Flames crawled across the shingles, crackling upward. The cabin was burning. Calder kicked the door open and rushed out, firing into the storm of bullets. Alara followed, ducking behind a snowbank. The caravan master spotted her. "There you are," he growled, raising his pistol. Before he could fire, an arrow shot from the trees. It pierced his wrist. His gun flew into the snow. All heads turned. Tarek stood on the ridge, bow in hand, cloak dancing in the wind like a shadow come alive. He fired again. Bandits fell one by one. Calder charged forward with a roar, smashing into the remaining men. Alara threw burning snow at a torchbearer, blinding him long enough for Calder to disarm him. Minutes felt like hours, but eventually, silence. Snow drifted down over fallen bodies. The battle was over. The last man standing was the caravan master. He staggered backward, gripping his bleeding wrist. "You think you can protect her?" he spat. "She's nothing. She belongs to whoever feeds her." Alara stepped forward. "Not anymore." He lunged. Alara didn't flinch. She drove her knee into his stomach, grabbed his fallen pistol, and aimed it at his head. Her hands shook violently. "Do it," the master snarled. "You're just like us." Alara's breath trembled. She lowered the gun. "No," she whispered. "I'm not." Tarek nodded with quiet approval. Calder stepped beside her, but before he could speak, the caravan master swung a hidden knife. Calder pushed Alara aside. Steel sliced into his ribs. Calder staggered back, blood dripping into the snow. "No!" Alara screamed. Tarek's arrow flew instantly, striking the master in the leg. Calder finished him with a brutal punch that sent him collapsing unconscious. Alara rushed to Calder, catching him as he fell to his knees. "Stay with me. Please, just stay with me," she begged, voice cracking. Calder grimaced. "I've been hurt worse," but his voice was weak. Tarek approached, tearing fabric to bind the wound. "He lives," the warrior said calmly, "but only if he rests." Alara pressed her hands over the makeshift bandage, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You saved me," she whispered. "You didn't even know me, and you saved me." Calder opened one eye. "You were worth Savon." Hours later, as dawn rose over the mountains, the cabin smoldered in ruins. The flames had died, but the smoke lingered, ghosts of the battle. Calder lay propped against a stump, wrapped in furs. Alara sat beside him, her head resting lightly on his shoulder. "You don't owe me anything," he murmured. "When I'm healed, you're free to go where you want." She looked at him, eyes soft. "I know," she said, "but I'm staying because I choose to. Not because I'm bought. Not because I'm owned." Calder breathed out slowly. "Then I reckon I'm grateful." Tarek stood at the tree-line, watching them silently. "Winter will be long," he said. "You will need help." Calder gave a half-smile. "You sticking around?" "For now." Snow drifted gently around them. The world was quiet, soft, fragile. Alara looked at the rising sun. "I thought I was dead," she whispered. "I thought the world was done with me." "It wasn't," Calder said. "It was just waiting for you to fight back." She squeezed his hand. "I will," she said. "Not a perfect ending. Not a fairy tale. Just survival. Just hope. Just enough." If you felt the weight of Alara's journey or the courage in Calder's sacrifice, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful frontier stories. Your support keeps these tales alive and helps us bring you more gripping adventures from the Wild West.